are delighted and looking forward to welcoming Janine Parkinson from the 13th of April, who many of you will know, and has a long and deep background in the sector. My area of expertise is actually in political management, government relations, campaigns and communications. And Tara has invited me along this morning to speak on some of those issues around advocacy and goals. We are on the same page because the first half of my speech covers a lot of what Tara just said, but have a crack into it anyway. At MA, we do an awful lot of advocacy and campaigning as the people in the sector. A highlight for me during my time with Museusm Aotearoa has actually been advocating on behalf of museum and gallery educators, particularly around the importance of ELC funding and art history in the secondary school curriculum. You will see that I have taken the bold move of putting some art history features at the back of the room. If you would like to try and upsize, if you're interested in supporting the campaign, just jump on to savearthistory.co.nz. You can make an order online, that's probably the easiest. And my colleague Iris is here if you have cash, which some people are told to still carry. Look, museum and gallery education provides a clear case for increased central government funding to our sector. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about how great you all are, and a little bit about how we need to make sure other people know this. I know that times are tough, as Tara has said. Museums and galleries have a long and proud history of delivering for students and teachers, and we will continue to do so. It is in the spirit of service and civics that I will lean into today. And there's good news. During times of upheaval, people need safe places to retreat to. During times of recession, people look to the ways that they can better educate and equip themselves for uncertain futures. And during times of digital overload, people seek out wholesome analog experiences for their children and in fact themselves. And this is our wheelhouse. As you all know, educational programs were a part of the original intent of museums, a place where people could go to learn in a time when schooling was not commonplace. That history has always been based on a shared understanding of the educational opportunities that exist beyond the school gate. And importantly, it's an acknowledgement that a varied education is a good education. Museums and galleries are uniquely placed to enrich their local curriculum. We are trusted, our collections are extraordinary, and our educators, yourselves, are experts, sparking curiosity in students that challenges them to explore and make career choices that they might not have thought about in the classroom. For our communities, we're also a window to the wider world, and I hear that particularly from the rural members of Museusm Aotearoa, and we know that we're a microscope of local industries. We deliver the ratepayer and the taxpayer bang for buck. Research undertaken by Museusm Aotearoa in partnership with Google estimated the educational value of a student visiting a museum or gallery is $40.80 per student per visit. That represents huge value. For our teachers, we're told, from our teachers, we're told that our programs give them confidence, as Tara was saying, to teach these subjects in the classroom. And yet we are industrious. Across the country, we deliver these programs in partnership with philanthropy, government donors, and diverse funding sources. We could deliver so much more for our stretched schools. And that's why at Museusm Aotearoa we advocate strongly for the expansion of central government funding into museum and gallery education. In 22 and 23, we delivered $27.8 million of educational value for students, according to our Google research. 96% of schools valued our EOTC, ELC programs to be extremely important. And look, I know you all have notes. We know that funding from MOE has reduced to an amount that means accessibility and learning opportunities have reduced. And for those of you whose institutions missed out on funding last round and are still awaiting an uncertain future, we see it. With the fuel crisis looming, transport to our institutions is more challenging than ever, and we see that and we hear that from our members. This is a point that we will be focusing on advocacy around in the lead up to Budget 26. In Budget 25, the education package totaled $2.5 billion over 4 years. Our goal is to share more on that line. The educational outputs we deliver offer a national benefit and they ought to be funded accordingly. Since the 1940s, New Zealand has delivered education beyond the school gate, and in this low or no funding environment, when we museums and galleries are struggling to simply keep the lights on. These strong partnerships between parents, schools, and their local galleries and museums are at risk in some of our communities. We need to look at education outside the classroom, as Tara's already said, not as a jolly or a lark, but as an integral way to foster engagement, independence, and intellectual curiosity. Sector-wide campaigning and advocacy is a key way we can improve the position of our individual institutions. We need to tell the stories of your success in the classroom and the opportunities that your work provides students and schools. With the budget just around the corner, we'll be diving into the detail of that on your behalf, and we'll be keeping a close eye on what it means for you. I want to share a little bit about campaigns we have run recently and talk a little bit more about advocacy and comms. So at Museusm Aotearoa, we have been proud to stand alongside the New Zealand Art History Teachers Association in support of retaining art history as a standalone subject in the secondary school curriculum. Have we succeeded? No, not yet. But if there's one thing I've learned, it is that a week is a long time in politics. It was our members who flagged up this concern to us. Many from the GLAM sector were concerned not just about the loss of the subject, but the loss of the pipeline of museum and gallery workers. Art history is a critical subject that should not be merged with visual arts or history. And in a fast-moving digital world, as you all are well aware, students need to be able to read and understand and analyse images. Art history teaches this visual literacy. But it also teaches students to think about power, identity and culture. And it provides a stepping stone to other subjects, including history, politics and economics and other things. Good advocacy relies on diverse, genuine communication. So we're proud to be able to set up a website to have a central place for the stories of teachers and students in the sector. We were able to line up some of our members with seasoned journalists like Barbara Drever to pen and paper pieces and to stand by their teachers concerned about their new job descriptions. We sent campaign starter packs to our interested members. We made free digital campaign resources available online. And of course we rallied behind Lily Foster, who some of you will know, the student who championed the cause all the way to Parliament with a personal petition. We've been overwhelmed with support for this campaign, and if our t-shirt sales are anything to go by, it is more than an urban issue. It is one that's resonating really strongly out in our rural communities. Our cross-sector connections that have been built off the back of this campaign will serve museum educators really well into the future. So in the coming year, I urge you to make the most of our sector's online meeting place, MeetHub. It's an easy hub to organise events, to share resources, to chat about the sector's happenings, and I know that many of you will on there. Please use it for museum educators. Make the most of its functionality. If we don't use it, we will lose it. So please gather and share in some of the lunchtime sessions that some of you have already presented in the last few weeks. Now, I was supposed to give some tips on campaigning and advocacy today, so if you have not been invited back, I will leave you with some of the campaign commandments that I learned campaigning for politicians in the US, in Australia and in New Zealand. Here are the 10 campaign commandments that I still live by. Number 1, ground everything you do in your values. As Tara said, those are principles that you can action in times of crisis, chaos or opportunity. You can't prepare for every scenario, so you just need to know why you come to work in the morning. I saw this in action as Jacinda Ardern's Deputy Director of Communications following the March 15 terrorist attack, and it's that experience that will stick with me always. Number 2, cherish your time and that of others. Don't rally people around you until you know what you're doing. We are all tired and we're all wearing many, many hats. Number 3, the best antidote for apathy is activity. Work hard, and work harder. There aren't any shortcuts, particularly when we're making the most of digital tools. We get questions in the comms and campaigning profession a lot about this. But in small organisations in particular, I encourage you just to take risks and follow the energy, whoever and wherever it comes from. You don't need fancy subscriptions to fancy platforms. come for the cause, but they stay for you. Your attitude is critical to your campaign's success. Number 6, my personal favourite, hierarchy is your friend. Be professional. Learn to love the chain of command. People want to succeed. Give them structure. Number 7, many hands make light work. Good campaign managers. Find a role for anyone and everyone. Number 8, let people volunteer on their own terms. And this one I feel is really important. I know so many of our organisations are struggling to recruit and retain volunteers. So take a good look at what you're asking of people and make it easy and respect the effort of others and the time that they need to give. Most campaigns, number 9, most campaigns in this country are run on relationships, so work. And number 10, in politics we used to say doors over everything, which is short for conversation is better. Make connections with your team. We know from our partners, from places like funding HQs, and from some of the big fundraising success stories we've heard from museum and gallery directors in the sector, it is those personal connections and relationships that get results. Ours is a small country and our communities are well connected. Leverage everything that digital has to offer, but there is no shame in picking up the phone. At Museusm Aotearoa, we exist to support our members to thrive, that's you, to be the trusted voice of the sector and a place where people can connect. Use us this year. We are your allies and we are here to amplify your work. Ka nui tēnei, ina mai. Go.
While we've got Sarah here, if there's any questions from the floor, feel free to ask them. Monica's handed around some sticky notes so you can write your thoughts as you go. But equally while Sarah's here, anybody have any questions? We've got an expert in the room on marketing, communication, advocacy. So here's your chance.
Sarah, I just wondered where that figure, thank you for sharing that as well, but where did that figure, the $40.80, can you just explain that figure a little?
Yeah, sure. So our girl research is a little data rich release, it's expensive to do. So that was 2022-23. It's available in full on the MA website. And there's an educational pull-out which I can send to Tara, which is more like 2 or 3 pages. But the full research is worth having a look at, particularly alongside the focal research we did at the same time, which is a little bit more qualitative and it kind of builds out community perceptions of our organisations and the value that we bring. I believe there's a section of education here as well. So look, it's slightly dated now, but it's very much worth a read. Yeah.
Sarah, I just want to say thank you so much to you and to MA for really getting behind the Save Art History campaign. I think you've done a really, really good job. I just wonder if it's possible for you to share anything around that campaign, whether there have been some successes along the way. I really am invested and I want to believe that it's going to change. So give me some hope.
Usefully, in the taxi here, Barbara Orman, the head of the District Teachers Association, has sent those on her mailing list an update. So she has succeeded in getting some next funding for, which some of you may be familiar with, to allow art history teachers to support the intertwining of art history into our subject areas. She's shared some resources on how they're looking at doing that, so that for those of you looking at the way that the subject will appear in other subjects, you can take a look. Now, we've had ongoing calls with the Art History Teachers Association, and our main role is to support our museums and galleries in this space and to be an advocate for that pipeline of talent that we know people in the sector needs. However, we learn a lot too, because we're talking to all these wonderful art history teachers about what they need, and to visual arts teachers about how seriously frustrated they are to think that shortly they'll be teaching art history, which is not something that they're trained and confident in. And in fact, the students that enroll in these subjects are there to do art making, not to write essays. So it's hugely problematic. We've had some fantastic support from the Green and Labour parties, and we have got political support from the opposition to retain the subject. So, and I say that with a grain of salt because it's easy to commit to things in opposition. But I know that support is genuine from those representatives. they've accepted Live Foster's petition. They have expressed a keen support for retaining our history, and that is why I say we're lucky in some ways that it is an election year. I know there's a huge amount of change happening in the education curriculum, but it's at the whim of our politicians, right? Things can be rolled out, things can be rolled back. So we certainly won't be stopping the advocacy. The fact that our current minister is digging her heels in on this, that's her prerogative, but that doesn't mean that we stop advocating for what we see as a better pathway forward.
Just on behalf of the young ones, thank you very much for today and sharing your thoughts with us. And we're going to miss you. I know I'm going to miss you. I've seen Sarah on a few other side of the streams, and she's listened to me later on. So I'm going to miss you.
I'm the stage, I'm here.
Oh.